Hey everyone, Silverpone here, and I wanted to take a second and say thank you for 1,000 views on my last video. It means a lot, and I'm deeply appreciative. I never thought I'd hit 1,000 views on a video, and it actually happened. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, Dragon Ball The Breakers. The latest installment in the Dragon Ball franchise. And it is more of a horror type game, I guess you could say. Well, I forgot the genre of these types of games. Hold on, give me 1 second. Online symmetrical action game. That genre. The latest installment in that genre for the Dragon Ball franchise, which means they've branched out and created a new title in a fun new way to play Dragon Ball. Even though this type of game has been out before. So, you may be asking yourself, should I play Dragon Ball Breakers? And I definitely think the game is worthwhile, and I think it deserves a play from loving fans throughout the community in Dragon Ball. If you are a Dragon Ball fan, I think you would like the game, and if you have a second to play it, I think you would honestly enjoy it. This game is also meant to be a placeholder, so don't think that it's supposed to be like a full-fledged Dragon Ball game or anything like that. This game only goes for about $20 on the marketplace. PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So you're not going to be paying full price for this game anyways, because it's only a placeholder. And you may be asking yourself, what does a placeholder mean? Placeholder means that this game is just here to hold fans over until the next huge game comes out, because the next game that comes out for Dragon Ball may be going back to the fighter type of, fighter game type of roots for the game, or for the franchise. So it might not be like this, but Dragon Ball Breakers is a good sign that they're branching out. Anyways, I wanted to take some time and discuss 5 things that Dragon Ball Breakers could use in the future for the longevity of the game and for the betterment of the game, and overall just boost the players. Number 1, more customization options. And not as in the sense of like gameplay, but just, aesthetically customizable options like the shop and the clothing options, the accessories. They're adding more and more things to the game. Every time I get on, it seems like they're adding more things, but it still seems like they could add a bit more and keep it from being just, 10 shirts or 10 pants and things of that nature. We need like a little bit more variety in there. It would never hurt to have more variety. I think that I don't even know if they defer women in the shop, but I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Number 2, more skills for survivors. Survivors have a plethora of skills. They have, a fair amount, but the main one that's universally used is like the grapple hook. You see the grapple hook everywhere on every survivor because it's like that quick zip line, gets you to and from really fast. The second one that's the most used, I couldn't tell you because I like the space pod, the sand space pod. It comes down and it takes a second to come down, but when it comes down, whatever area you summon it in, you can fly to any part of the map. And it makes for a really good escape from the raider or running to save a teammate or something like that. The bike also is very useful. If you upgrade it enough, you can kind of just scoot across the map at like light speeds. Like the raider can't even catch up with you. And it's pretty nice. I like to have a trap skill on me sometimes because a trap skill usually helps against the raider, because sometimes you never know if you're going to meet the raider early game or not, and it's good to just have like, at least 1 or 2 trap skills. Also late game too, like they come in handy for the super time machine, if you can even get to it anymore, but we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, just more skills in general will be useful. I really don't have any good examples for skills, but I just think that, coming from Xenoverse and a lot of other games, like they have a lot of inspiration they can take and, implement different things from the Dragon Ball verse into that and just make it, more unique. One example I can give you is like Bulma, for example. Like she has a lot of robotics and things of that nature, and Kakarot, she designed like robo legs and like robo or let's just say robots. She designed robots in Kakarot that you had to get her to make. And so you could get one of those in Dragon Ball Breakers, and you know, maybe it goes across the map really fast, or maybe it has an active camouflage or something like that. Like different skills like that would be really useful. So yeah. Number 3, more raiders. The game has only 3 raiders right now, but they keep a good variety between the raiders by having different forms. So like level 1 all the way to 4 is, you're always going to be playing like the same character or different characters. For instance, with Majin Buu, you play Spopovich as level 1. Then level 2 you get the fat Majin Buu. Then level 3 you turn into Super Buu. And level 4 you get Kid Buu. So it's kind of interesting in that way. And then Frieza has like all of his forms. Cell has all of his forms, including the larva form, which is very interesting as well. Makes for some good variety. But I think they could use more characters, you know, like Zamasu and Goku Black would be a good example. They have different levels they could use for level 1 to 4. You also have like Super Baby 2 or Super Baby Vegeta. He has different forms as well that he would be a very good raider. Another one would be like Dragon Ball Z Broly. And you can go even more in depth for the reasons why it would be useful to have them. But yeah, you could go more in depth with those characters in detail and discuss why they'd be good additions and why their skills would be very good. I just think that those characters would be very nice. Even characters like Moro, for instance, you could even try Moro. That'd be kind of a reach, but you know, that stuff like that. Going into number 4 with more in-game items. And this is a good one because a lot of the items in game are the same thing. You see like, you know, either like a gray rocket launcher, a golden rocket launcher, or you know, just a Senzu bean or Vegeta's gloves. See, the fact that there even is a Vegeta's gloves, like they could do more with that. They could do, you know, Goku's wristbands or Gohan's wristbands or something like that, and you can have different attacks. So they give you a Gallic gun with Vegeta's wristband, so I mean, or Vegeta's gloves. So might as well have like, you know, a Goku variation, a Gohan variation, a Piccolo variation, and etc. So you can have their super attacks as well. They have rocket launchers. They could have different types of things like, you know, grenades or like throwables. Maybe even have like a sniper. So if you see the raider far off, you can try to help somebody that he's attacking with a snipe shot and still stay kind of like incognito. And a lot of the times the raiders that hear these types of things, they're gonna think that it's like making the survivors too broken, but the raiders are already broken enough. The survivors can use anything they can get. And a sniper doesn't have to necessarily kill a raider or do damage. A sniper doesn't necessarily have to kill the raider or do damage. It just has to, you know, stop his movements for a second. So there's just all different types of things I could implement. The keys and the items that are used to give you shields and things, those are nice too. Those are fine. I don't think those need to be touched. It's more of just along the lines of the offensive things around the map. If they want to add more healables to the game, they can do that too, but that might also be a reach, but who knows, because Senzu beans and barrier devices already is like enough. But like I said, offensively they could use more. We could use more to use as survivors. And coming into number 5, just overall balancing. I think the game would do very well if the balancing wasn't so lopsided at times. Because sometimes the survivor side will do good, and you'll win the majority of the survivor games, and then other times the raiders just overpower. And the differences here that I'm talking about is it has to do with updates. So if you played the game about 2 updates ago in Dragon Ball Breakers, and I'm making this video right now on December 11th. If you played about 2 updates ago, the survivor side was just way more consistent, if that makes sense. You won more games as a survivor than you did as a raider. the Raiders were just, I mean, they were good. It felt more 50-50 back then, but if you had a lobby with good players, like if you had like, you know, level 30s and above, or even like level 50s and above, you kind of knew you're probably gonna win the game. Like a good like 70% chance you're gonna win the game there. But if the Raider was high level, then it might be a little bit harder to even get the Super Time Machine. But come about 2 updates now in the future, and it's really not even possible to get the Super Time Machine anymore. It's really just a game of hop in and get the Escape Time Machine if you're a survivor. The Raiders still might get jumped, but you probably won't even die. You probably just take a little bit of damage and still be able to down everyone jumping you now. They did nerf the Key Blast for Raiders too, which is nice. So you can still kind of bob and weave in the air or get away, but it still feels like something's missing. The damage output is still there. The Raider just feels broken, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not gonna complain about the Raider being too, you know, overpowered. He doesn't need to be more overpowered than he is now, but how he is now is good because, I mean, the Raider is supposed to be someone that's menacing in the game, and you're supposed to be like run away from him and everything. So you don't want to just have the survivors be all broken. But as I said before, and number 2 on this video, the skills that we have as survivors, like, they're still kind of lackluster. But a lot of them are useful, but a lot of them are not. So I just feel like they need to add some more of those, and that would also be a huge factor into, you know, balancing for the game. So yeah, hopefully in the next few updates, you know, they hit something on the mark and give us a good version of what Dragon Ball Breakers should be, or at least kind of go back to how it used to be with a good 50-50 between Raider and Survivor wins. But yeah, this video is a little bit on the shorter side. I want to talk some more about Dragon Ball Breakers in the future. The next time I talk about it, I'll probably go more into depth about villain concepts or Raider concepts, and a little bit more about skills as well. But those will probably be two separate videos. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and take it easy.